So when I started KinkyCurlyYaki, Luxy hair was my inspiration. I'm like, I want to be the black girl version of that. So thank you for that inspiration. Hair extensions and wigs is currently valued at $10 billion. So I needed to get a piece of that. Well, I didn't need to. I started out to solve my own problem, but this is how I got a piece of that market. So it's a niche market. I zeroed in on a sub-niche product. So hair extensions and wigs is one niche. And then there's all these different textures. So I created a niche that didn't exist. So in 2012, when I started this company, there were no companies just selling kinky hair. I created that niche. And then and because of that, we're the OG, the original gangsters of the textured human hair extensions, AKA protective styling niche. Protective styling niche is just another way of saying we don't want to do our hair, we're going to wear a wig. And also, which is super important, I'm one of the few Black-owned, 100% Black-owned companies. And this is really, really important in our space because a lot of it, oh, did I do that? Yeah, I did, okay. A lot of it, a lot of beauty supply stores, Black beauty supply stores, Black hair care brands, Black hair extension brands are actually Asian-owned. And then they use Black girls as fronts. So I'm one of the very few who are actually Black-owned. So I make it a point to make that part of my brand story, to know that the customer that is buying from me knows that a Black woman created this. So it's for us, by us. I am the customer. And because we don't historically have, we don't have the history of having Black-owned hair businesses, and so then I use that to my advantage. That's where I win. So Chinese companies that I cannot compete with them on price, but where I can compete with them is on my story. I am you, or her. So of course I use my personal. I created a relatable and emotional connection to my audience. Unfortunately, the single mother thing is quite prevalent in the Black community. I'm not saying I use that to my advantage, but it is part of my story, and it's a relatable one. And so I always make it a point to show my customers who they're supporting. You're not just buying random shit off the internet. You're supporting me and my son. So, and I thank them profusely for that, and I let them, and I'm always thanking them for that. I use my personal brand, and then I'm always constantly thanking them for their support. Because if there's one thing that happens a lot in our community is we don't get a lot of thank yous from our own businesses. So what works? So I do a lot of videos in my bathroom. So I'll just create videos, and what I'll do is I'll create tutorials, and then I'll work with other Black-owned brands. And then, of course, that expands both of our audiences because we want to support our own. We want to support people who look like us.